Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof.
It's always a pleasure to catch up with you, Simone Simons, the captivating voice behind Epica, who are of course due to release their ninth studio album, Aspiral. Does drop April 11th through Nuclear Blast. It's an absolute pleasure to get to chat with you because I did talk to you about 4 years ago for the Amiga album. Tell me a little bit about the songwriting process for this album because I did notice there's been a few changes in the way you do things.
Yeah, we wanted to clear our schedule from touring to really focus on writing and recording the album. And it's a little tricky for us to get together when we're also touring because we live in 4 different countries. We have kids. So with Omega, we already kind of started that we did this thing we called writing camp. And we rent a house and we sleep in there. We have breakfast, dinner, and in between we make music. And our producer Joost is there. And we loved it so much with Omega that for Aspiral, we actually booked 3 sessions at a lovely countryside house, disconnected from the world, but connected as a band, also together with our producer and some chickens who were also living there.
You can never have enough birds. I have a bird sitting in my lounge room right now, actually. The band does emphasize unity, and that kind of signifies probably that a lot going into that environment and kind of creating this album as well.
Yeah, I think for this album, we really worked so much more intensively together as a team. It was definitely the biggest team effort that brought us also closer together as a band. Writing the music, writing the lyrics with Mark. Mark became a father, so we have now 5 mini Epicans in the group. The family is growing and we are evolving as individuals. And yeah, this album definitely is extra special to us.
Yeah, well, I was reading in the notes there and doing my research on Szukalski's artwork, and I see that sculpture, and like I love doing these kind of stuff and going back and checking out this and just being blown away. Tell me a little bit about what kind of draw that piece of art drew you to kind of for this album.
Well, it goes back to 2022 when we were on tour in North America, and Rob, who is our bass player and composer, and also the composer of the song Aspiral, he told me to watch a documentary called Struggle on Netflix. And of course, that's something you do a lot when you're on tour. You watch movies, you have a lot of free time. So I watched it, and then he told me that he's going to meet the creators in LA and asked me if I wanted to join. And I joined him. We got to hang with 2 lovely people, great admirers of art, supporters of art, and it was very special. And at the end of it, he told me that he wanted to actually write music inspired by Tucholsky's art, not necessarily used for Epica or something else, just start with writing the music. And when we got together, fast forward 2023, end of 2023, when we had the first writing camp, all the band guys, they threw the songs on the table. We had a listen session, and Spiral was one of the songs that made it to the album. And I wrote the lyrics inspired by the sculpture. And when we had to pick a title for the album, we thought Spiral really embodies the message of renewal, rebirth, and coming out stronger out of a difficult time, whether that's connected to what's going on in the world, but can also be on a personal level.
Yeah, and you definitely notice that, and that is a strong theme in this, the link between chaos, suffering, and the beautiful new things that are born out of it. And it kind of almost
Mhm.
describes this album down to a T, the way that your voice in there with Mark kind of work off. But you have this kind of bridge between these two worlds you create with your vocal presence as well, especially on this album. Tell me a little bit about the working like that.
Well, I came freshly out of the creation of my solo album Vermilion that I wrote together with Arjen Lucassen.
I interviewed him for that album. That was an amazing album.
He's a great guy, and it was always my dream to write an album with him. And that was beautiful alignment of the universe that we could make that happen. And it was incredibly inspirational, bucket list thing for me to do that, and put me in the right creative mindset for the Epica album. And also vocally, I expanded my techniques. I learned so many new things that I thought this is something I'm going to take with me for Epica. So I was on the creative train, literally and figuratively. I came off of vocal recording with Ari, and the next day I was with Epica in the writing camp and continued creating music.
Yeah, come straight out of that. The latest single, I believe, was released as Time, which is an absolute ripper, as is the whole album. I've got to listen to it. It's a really, really great album. But that track, Time, is the latest single. Tell us about that and the a cappella version as well. That was cool as well, you and Mark with the a cappella choir there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also one of my favorites of the album. Of course, I love all the songs, but Time I kind of enjoy listening to. It's not, all the singles that we chose are obvious because it's a nice, I say, like a little taste of the album, but not the complete meal yet. And Time is a great catchy song, and it's yeah, there's a fourth single coming with the release of the album with another cool video. We're working on that right now, finalizing it. And yeah, the whole album has just so many things to offer, and it's the tip of the iceberg, these singles that we have released. The feedback has been positive. We are super stoked and can't wait. We're counting down the days for the whole album to be out there and everybody can enjoy it.
Well, it's an absolutely amazing album. You guys have always put that extra effort into making whole albums. So I implore anyone to go out and buy this album. Tell me a little bit before we sign out here, the closing track. I love that, the way I always love your closing tracks on your albums, but this one was such a nice end to the album, and it kind of triggers onto the next one if you listen to the whole album again as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a palette cleanser and a beautiful yeah, it's a climax, but at the same time, it's really nice to, after all the songs, to get that big orchestral ending that leads to this. Yeah, it's magical. I think I always get goosebumps when I listen to Aspiral. We performed it live during the Symphonic Synergy with choir and orchestra in both Amsterdam and Mexico City, and yeah, it's beautiful, and I love that the album ends with a ballad and that it also ends with me singing by myself. And like you say, it feels a little bit like a circle. You can then listen to the whole album again after a spiral.
Yeah, plenty of times, and that's the only way to do it. Simone, this has been an absolute pleasure. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, mate?
Yeah, of course, always a big thank you to all the Epicans all around the world, but especially now down under, and that we are trying our very best to make things happen, that we can come play the songs live for you in Australia really soon.
That's it. And everybody go out, grab the album, buy it, chuck it in the stereos. We'll get you over here even quicker. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, my friend.
Thank you so much. And
Oi, you're tuned in to That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.